Hello, hello, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video from your favorite man-child, Super Jesus Jackson. Thank you so much for joining me today. You might notice I have a new look going on. Is it better than the previous camera I had? I got no idea. If you have been listening to the recent Chips and Talk video I did, you might sort of know the tea. I don't know if this looks better. Does it? I have conflicting feelings. It's a big.
A lot of things happened.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. Hope you had an amazing feast with your family. I hope you're enjoying your life, you beautiful creature. And I hope you got everything you wanted for Christmas. And if you were naughty, I hope you got nothing at all. But I figure I would do something very fitting and talk about James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I hinted at this video at my previous video where I talked about Zack Snyder versus universe being officially dead because of the new studio overhaul over at DC and Warner Brothers. James Gunn and Peter Safran are now the leading creative and producing leads of the DC universe. Very exciting, but at the same time, perhaps a little nerve-wracking. But I did hint at that previous video, I'm a Zack Snyder fanboy. It's no surprise to anyone that knows me or that has watched some of my content. And so this new regime is, like I said, a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I totally understand why it happened, and it is what it is. James Gunn, I finally watched Suicide Squad, or The Suicide Squad. This is a film that I did not watch in the theaters when it came out. I didn't watch in HBO Max. I haven't even watched Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll admit, everyone, okay? I mean, like I've said in the past, I don't really watch a lot of Marvel movies, and when James Gunn decided to sort of come in and reboot, I guess, the Suicide Squad and all of its lore, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm gonna stick to Zack Snyder's Justice League or something. But obviously it was critically acclaimed. It commercially failed, but it was critically acclaimed. I mean, a lot of that had to do with the fact that confusion over the first film and the fact that it released on HBO Max day and date. I finally watched it. I mean, I felt like I had to, knowing that he was going to be the creative lead with the DC universe moving forward. You had to do it, right? So I watched it at home through HBO Max, as you can see. 4K, Dolby Atmos, all the good stuff, Ultra HD, HDR, whatever, and I enjoyed it. Guys, you know me, being a Zack Snyder fanboy, fanboy is just a funny word, but I had my feelings, of course, and I haven't really watched all the Marvel movies. I've only watched some, and the ones that I did watch, like I've said in the previous video, they're not my cup of tea. And this one in particular has a lot of style, okay? Immense style, okay? James Gunn knows how to film. When you see a James Gunn film, it is a James Gunn film, okay? It's no one else's, just like Zack Snyder, right? And every director tries to aim to have that specific style to them. And James Gunn definitely delivers. The film is R-rated, and it is brilliant. Okay, the first Suicide Squad should have been R-rated. This one was, and it was incredible. The action sequences are unparalleled. Okay, they're just amazing. The way that he's able to combine, typical, action movie, fight sequences with animation and special effects and just color. And it's amazing. And did I say the transitions are amazing? Because they are. And obviously I do have to mention, it was really cool the way that he decided to go to the DC lore vault and grab characters that otherwise would never get the time of day, like Polka Dot Man, like Ratcatcher, and put them at the forefront and make them sort of leading characters in a way. This is totally a James Gunn thing, but James Gunn has an ability of being able to mix humor with seriousness. And in this case, it was super serious, right? Because of this R-ratedness of the film. But you get humor as well. And this movie is probably, one of the closest films that we have to a Marvel movie, I suppose. I mean, we've had that with Aquaman and Shazam and Black Adam. But I think this film, given that it was directed by a director who has directed Marvel movies, and who has directed one of the most successful Marvel movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, this movie definitely feels like that. This is where I'm a little concerned, as just a fan of the comic book genre, okay? I've completely made it clear that I am a fan of Zack Snyder, the way he chooses to portray, or the way he chooses to shoot comic book films in terms of tone. I think Zack Snyder nails it. We know superheroes are fun. We know that they're just people in tights. We know that it's just this childish thing, I guess. But for the love of God, can we, kind of move beyond that a little bit? Yes, we know that superheroes and villains and all this is super kind of corny, right? But like, do we have to then make the tone corny in a way? And I just feel like the Suicide Squad, even in all of its style and all of its luster, we got to insert a joke every like 10, 15 minutes or even 5 minutes, in the middle of a serious scene even. And like, why do we have to do that? And also, it comes to the second point, which is like, if you look at the Suicide Squad, and then you look at the original Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad has every single character have some sort of funniness to them, which is very realistic in a sense, right? Like everyone in this world, even the people who are a little bit more serious, have a comedic edge to them, right? Everyone tries to be a little bit funny at some point. Like that is very realistic. But at the same time, movies to me are supposed to be a little bit more focused. They're not supposed to be real life, because if it was real life, then, that would be horrendous. And it'd be so self-aware to the point where it's not really a movie. Even a character like Rick Flag, who is supposed to be super serious, or a little, at least the least funny out of everyone, if not really funny at all. And then he's forced to engage in some sort of comedy here and there, or he's forced to say some things in a comedic fashion or whatnot. It's just kind of bizarre.
We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Hardly, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? I mean, do you prefer the James Gunn, way of filming, or do you prefer, I guess, the more David Ayer, Zack Snyder, serious tone of these films? But to me, it's just much more consistent and less tacked on. It feels less corny. And oh my God, I know that this film has a character named Polka Dot Man in it, but can we try? You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of weird. I mean, but I don't know. Maybe I sound like an idiot. I don't know. And whenever I say my thoughts, I just end up I just feel like I sound like an idiot. But, I really hope that makes sense. It's just, some jokes landed. Some jokes were pretty funny, or some landed. There's one particular action sequence that had comedy weaved into it, and I thought it was actually pretty genius the way they did it. And it was funny because in that particular scene, one character was a little bit more serious than the other, and by the end, we got the joke, and it was really well done. But other than that, the majority of the times when the movie was trying to be funny, I just thought it was kind of trying a little bit too hard, and also it just goes for that really shock humor a lot of the time, and that's usually not my favorite, because I think it's just kind of a weak way to get you to laugh. It also has, because it's R-rated, its language is pretty intense sometimes, almost to the point where you're just using the word F, as in, the F word, just to use it. You're going for the mother effers, like a little bit too much. And even characters that would not, I know that everyone in this world would sort of cuss in a way, but like when you have certain characters that are cussing a little bit way too much, it's like, that just doesn't make sense. The story itself is fantastic. Okay, it's great. I love how, just like with the previous Suicide Squad, the idea of villains just being manipulated and used and abused, we have those themes in this film. We really do. And the way that James Gunn is able to kind of broaden this villain, empathy theme, even to obviously the main villain, but that happened in the first Suicide Squad, but he was able to broaden it in a more political sense, you know, like even with countries and the U.S. and the way it handles, you know, politics with other governments and stuff like that. Like that was really cool. I think the first film, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, I think even though the story was a little bit more contained and not as super complicated with so many things, you know, and politics and all that, like, I think it was still able to be more effective in its emotional storytelling because it was a lot more focused. Whereas this one was trying to kind of shoot a lot of eggs in different baskets. And also, the biggest thing here is that the comedy. But there's a lot of emotional storytelling here too. I still think it's an effective movie. I still think, you know, like I said, I was entertained. I enjoyed my time. It's just that, like, I feel like it could have gone the mile, or it could have gone even further had it not let its comedy compromise the power of its storytelling. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you fully enjoyed all the comedy in the film and the tone of it, but for me, it was just a little bit too much. Here's the thing. I guess if there was anyone that I was going to choose to do this from the Marvel side, it would be James Gunn. Not gonna lie. He's a big DC nerd. He's a big comic book nerd. He loves style, which is very, you know, at least he commits to his style. I will give him that. Just like Zack Snyder commits to his filmmaking, James Gunn does that as well, and I respect that. But anyways, leave a comment down below if you agree with me, or if you disagree with me. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Happy holidays to you and your loved ones, and Happy New Year. I really appreciate the support that comes out of you. I do this for you and me and for you. And I really hope you enjoy that. I really do. Thank you for your support. Let's keep growing. Let's keep growing. But you take care. Stay safe. And until next time, I love you.